Harish sir, I think everything is set. If you permit, we
Fine.
will. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure.
Good evening, one and all esteemed participants. I think you have heard the many words like women empowerment, right? Women-led developments, and having all the buzzword. Just we are thinking about the men and. With Harish Sadani sir, we are going to discuss that how we can engage men to make a gender equal society, right? So
Right.
it cannot be become a society like the main voice cannot be heard. So sir is let me. I mean, I would like to introduce the Harish Sadani sir. So first of all, uh, Harish Sadani sir is a leading gender right activist who has pioneered efforts in the 1993 as a co-founder and executive director of Men Against Violence and Abuse, widely known as MAVA, where he worked with the young men and boys to prevent the violence on women. Harish Sadani sir, who has done his master in social work from Tata Institute of Social Science, Mumbai, and has been engaging and mentoring thousands of adolescents, boys and young men across the India to address the healthy relationship, masculinity and sexuality related matters, and redefining the masculinity using the out-of-box methods like interactive workshop, street theaters, and traveling film festival. Currently, he is also consultant and trainer to the corporates, universities, and NGO across India and anti-sexual harassment at the workplace and other gender matters. Harish Sadani sir is also TDX speaker and has been invited by national and international bodies like UN Women and UNFPA to share insight to build the capacity of the various stakeholders on addressing the issues of gender based violence against women. In recognition of his pioneer and significant work, Harish has been awarded with the Ashoka Changemaker Awards in USA, Maharashtra Foundation Awards, the Mukta Sanman Awards by IBN Lokmat News Channel of CNN Group, the Sandvik India Diversity Award by Sandvik Asia Private Limited, and Searching Light Award for contributions toward the right of transgender person. Sir, on behalf of Navjivan Center for Development, and all the development sector community. It is my pleasure and honor to welcome you and to learn. I think it is really great things that you are doing, and we are very fortunate to listen from you that how you are setting a tone by identifying the unique approach to address the issues like gender equality. Sir, without taking much time, I would like to hand it over the audience to you, sir. Please.
Thank you, Sanjay ji, for this wonderful opportunity, and all the listeners and people who have joined from across India. So this is a preliminary talk on a subject which is so critical in our country, and I have made some interesting slides so that there is some interest sustained throughout, and you are there with me for till the entire session. So I'll just have the screen share. Um, so should I have to click advanced or one
No,
second?
sir. Share a screen, sir. Share a screen option, sir.
Yeah, I was in share screen only. Um,
So there is called share sound and optimize of video clip. So you click both the button.
I should click on both. Okay.
Ah, ah.
And then share.
Yes, sir.
But then the slides, it will automatically open the slide? No.
Sir, you now your screen is we are visible. You just share the particular presentation, sir. You just open a particular presentation. Yes,
Is it
yes,
audible?
yes, yes, sir.
Like a slideshow?
Yes.
Um, is it the first slide?
Perfect, sir. Wonderful, sir.
Okay, okay, fine, fine. So the topic which I mentioned for today, um, engaging men and boys for a gender equal society, for addressing uh, a gender equal world, right? So I think, I've chosen the wrong slide. And let me just, because I had kept the slide on. Where should I? Is this visible now, Sanjay?
Yes, sir.
Do you see the blue background?
Yes, sir.
Blue background, right. So this is the right presentation. I have with us friends certain words written. I'm trying to have this session interactive. So can you see there are some words written on the left? Women are so and so, men are so and so. Can you all see? Uh, so there are words like women are dependent, men are independent.
Actually, we cannot read it out, sir.
But I'll just read because there are many words. So the first sentence I would say, women are dependent, men are independent. Do you
Mhm.
agree with this?
No,
No. Fine. Uh, women are weak, men are powerful.
no.
No.
Some
Fine.
ways.
Yeah, we would like others also to respond. They can just put in their chat box whether they agree, disagree, so that I also know. Women are incompetent, men are competent. Women are less important, men are more important. Let's go to the next one. Women are fearful, men are brave. Women are warm, men are uh, self-reliant. Women are passive, men are active. Women are gentle, men are strong. Disagree, right? So, the reason why I wrote these books and these words, and I think most of you disagree, right? With what I was saying, certain words which are written on the left and certain words which are written on the right. Uh, so carefully, if you listen to me, those words which are written on the left, they can be applicable for men as well. And those words which are written on the right, where it says men are so and so, can be applicable for women. Can all the words be applicable? Just now, which I read,
No.
they can be, no?
Mostly.
Mostly. So, can you tell which are the ones which you still are in a confusion, or like when I say women are soft spoken, men are outspoken, women are passive, men are active. It can happen vice versa, no? It can
Yes,
be,
yes, yes,
right?
yes.
So actually each and every word, and I would agree that most of you would say depending upon the situation, right? Depending upon the situation, but these are not like generalizations to be made for women and generalizations for men, right? They are words that can apply to either of those genders, right? Only certain words, if I add, for example, if I say men have more hair on their faces and women do not have,
Yes.
or men have a penis, women have a vagina. Would you agree? These words are interchangeable, not interchangeable.
Yes, sir.
Right? And what are these words which are not interchangeable? They are related to bodily parts. They are related to physical aspects. Agree?
Yes.
And these words which are written on the slide that you are watching, these words are referring to not the physical or biological characteristics, but what are those characteristics? You could say, anyone can write in the chat box. What are these words about? They are the social characteristics. Would you agree? And for social characteristics, there is a word in English. Uh, And uh, can anyone know that what is the word for the physiological characteristics or biological differences that we have? What is the word for that? And what is the word for the social characteristics called? Correct. Somebody has rightly said, Sony, that gender roles which are defined in the society, that what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman, right? So let's go to the next slide. So the words which are referring to the physiological characteristics are is something. Can everyone see this slide? So there is a word called sex, which
Sir,
refers
in
to
the
the
center there is
physiological.
a black circle, black
Sir,
square.
yeah, Harish sir, would you like to, shut down your screen, at least your chat box, so then screen
Okay,
will, yeah, chat box you can, yeah, now it is perfect, sir.
now it's perfect, no? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So sex, which is on the left side, refers to the biological characteristics, and gender refers to the sociological characteristics, social construction of being a man or a woman. Sex is something, a second characteristics is something which you are born with, and gender is something which is learned. Would you agree that gender is something, is a norm, as somebody said, and that norm is doesn't something which become automatic, a learned thing. It is internalized in various forms, right? And sex is something which can be changed easily. Like suppose a boy says that my voice shouldn't change after coming of age. Will that happen? It will change if a boy, whether it's in India or whether it's in the US, as the boy comes of age, his voice change, right? A girl goes through menstruation, whether it's a girl in India or whether it's a girl in Europe, right? Some changes which can happen, some of you might be referring, as Asha said, can be nowadays, that is referring to the sex change operation, which doesn't happen with every individual, right? It's only after certain doctors and uh, experts who check, they will give the permission, only then the sex change operation can be done, right? But in general, it cannot be changed, whereas gender norms which are there, can they be changed?
Right.
Like suppose if I say, women eat last after all men have eaten. Is that a norm followed in our society?
Yeah.
Some of you might say, who are there listening to me, say, in my house it doesn't happen. But I'm talking about the overall situation in our country. Do women eat last after all men have eaten as a norm? And does it got to do something with a large 52% of women in India having anemia? Does anyone know what is anemia? Yeah, somebody can speak. What do they mean by anemia? The hemoglobin count in the blood is low than average, what is necessary, right? 11 in
Right.
case of girls and 13 plus it should be in case of a male. But
Right.
52% of Indian women are anemic, which means that 52 is majority, right? And has that something to do when I say this sentence, women eat last after all men have eaten? You know, when we conduct workshops with college going, school going kids and ask them in your homes, who is the one who eats last? And often boys have said, my mother. Now, if that is a reality for majority of the people in our society, and that has a connotation that woman eating last, right? So somebody else says anemia is mostly caused due to this social and gender norms set by the society. So my question is, the point what I was trying to say, the third characteristics, can that norm be changed? It can be changed, but not automatically, right? What is required for that change to happen is efforts, and a multiple efforts, multiple level efforts is necessary, right? let's go to the next slide. Where do these norms come from? Like a man should be strong, a woman should be weak, you know. Where do these norms and ideas about being a man or a woman, what is called a gender, where do these ideas about gender or gendered role, images about being a man or a woman, where do they come from? The answer, Sony says, we as society. But within society, can you name certain institutions in our society?
Right.
Patriarchy is again a wider term. We are going to come. But when you say society, who in society tells us, where does a newly born baby learn that he or she has to perform certain role? What is that unit called?
Family.
Family, right? So let's name, there are 5 institutions I would like you to reflect and think about. One is family. What are the other institutions? Any guess? From where a growing up boy or a girl learns, I have to perform this role. If I don't perform, somebody says, don't talk like this, you know, don't cry. Whom cry in front of everyone? Whom is the norm of such told to? Is it boy or a girl? That don't cry before everyone. So somebody used words cultural, neighborhood, right? These are social norms. But again, in society, in the neighborhood, what is that institution? What is that subsystem which tells, do this? Like family is a subsystem. Education, can we say, is a subsystem where schools are there, colleges are there, right? So education is the second number. But before education, along with family comes an institution called religion. Would you agree that religion is an also an institution that shapes ideas about being a man or a woman, right? Religion definitely puts restrictions sometimes on some genders. And can anyone tell how does religion function? With examples. Like family example, a boy growing up learns certain things. What gifts are given to whom on a birthday, right? What clothes should wear. Are there certain colors identified with genders, right? Religion plays an important role. When you say culture, shaping up, right? Do's and don'ts, which are there, whether it is burqa for a Muslim woman or ghungat for a woman from the Rajput family, right? Who is an Hindu. So, is that a restriction? It's a restriction, no? So basically, you find these institutions which I'm just talking and making you reflect. There are 5 such institutions. So we have covered so far 3. We have covered family, we have covered religion, we have covered education. Which are the 4th and 5th example of institution that you can give? Which reinforce ideas about gender. Is there an institution called governance? And when you say governance, I would like you all to ask, often people give examples that in India, a prime minister has been a woman like Indira Gandhi, current president is a woman, right? But what is the percentage of women MPs vis-a-vis male MPs in our parliament? Does anyone know roughly what is the percentage? Women MPs, what must be the percentage vis-a-vis male MPs? A shocking figure that it is less than 13%. And 13% in all these years, ever since we became independent republic, right? So all those who say and give examples that chief minister of so and so state, Bengal, is a woman, right? Those examples are very good to give, but those, how many people are there in the parliament to talk decisions related to the country, right? If that indicator is a very important indicator, even in our neighboring countries like Nepal and Bangladesh, the percentage of women parliamentarians is comparatively larger than what it is in India.
Hmm.
You know, we all will say this year that the 33% reservation has been passed. It has yet to see how many percentage, whether it has increased or not. You know, so this 12 to 13% has been there for the last 70 years plus, right? So governance, when you say the three pillars of governance, which are the three pillars? Legislature, executive, and judiciary. What is the representation of men? What is the kind of decision making that happens in all these three pillars? Do they give importance or a preferential treatment to men and puts restrictions on women? What will be your answer? There are restrictions, no? There are the kinds of judgments when you talk about judiciary. Are they uh, showing preference to a particular gender? What will you find? So we say there is a phrase that India is a male-dominated society. Does anyone disagree here that ours is not a male-dominated?
Male chauvinist.
No, I'm asking the word dominated. Chauvinist is another thing. Is our country male-dominated country or not?
Yes.
It
Yes.
is, right? So who makes somebody dominance and somebody subordinate? Is it automatic or is it these institutions that have been systematically doing it for years? Would you agree? An institution like governance has been in place ever since society evolved, right? Would you agree? So there was Manu, a Rishi, who used to say a woman is not fit for independence. And often in our country, it was the rule of the law, right? So we'll come to patriarchy. I'm just not talking about specific institutions that make the patriarchal framework. Patriarchy is a broader word. I'm just not talking about which are the institutions that give importance to the male, preferential treatment to male, and puts restrictions on women. So when you say governance, there is public governance about which we talked, and there is private governance. So when you say private governance, you must be knowing about the Indian Companies Act was amended recently or a little earlier to have women directors on the boards of companies. May be aware, no? But my question is, you have brought out the change in law that there should be so and so percentage of women. How many women directors are there on boards on the best of the companies in our country? You name the Tata group of companies, which are how many? Around 100 plus. How many women directors must be there on their governing board? Any guess? So, those questions should disturb. So whether it's a private governance or whether it's a public governance, if the women are not there on the forefront in taking decisions related to governance, then it's an indicator whether we are a developed country or not, right? So this should make us bother. The more the governance factor where women can be shown are playing an important role. That's an indicator that we are moving towards a progressive developed country. And the four institutions that we said, which is the fifth institution that shapes in a larger way about being a man or a woman, ideas about being a man or a woman, especially youngsters. They are so influenced by that system, by that subsystem in our society. What is that subsystem that I'm trying you all to reflect? Somebody has written in the chat, rightly, media. And when you say media, there are kinds of media. Would you agree? What would be covered under media? The radio, television, social media, as somebody said, peer pressure, definitely you have. But what else is newspapers, television, films, advertisements, and somebody said social media. All this comes under media, right? And they shape and influence in a long way how ideas about gender are there. So these institutions which are there, they shape ideas, right, on what it means to be a man. These five institutions, they do not operate singly. They operate together. And if they have been operating for the past how many years, we would say, if say religion is in religion, Hinduism is said to be 5,000 years old, right? So those many years, these ideas about being a man or a woman have been passed on from generation to generation. And somebody referred to a word like patriarchy. So what is patriarchy? And how it is different from a word like male dominance. Are the two words same? Do they mean the same thing? Can anyone write in the chat box? Is male dominance, जिसको हम बोलते हैं पुरुष प्रधानता, और एक वर्ड है पेट्रियार्की, दैट इज पितृसत्ता. ये दोनों सेम है क्या? So the answer is there is a relation between these two words, but they do not mean the same. Patriarchy is a much broader word. Would you agree? It refers to what somebody said, a systemic framework, right? It's much bigger. It refers to what is called as a structure. आप सबको मालूम होगा structure, superstructure. स्ट्रक्चर किसे बोलते हैं? जो ढांचा है, राइट? तो अपना जो समाज का ढांचा है वो पितृ सत्ता पर आधारित है, जिसमें पुरुष प्रधानता को बढ़ावा है. बट जो ढांचा है, समाज के सभी अंग उसको बढ़ावा दे रहे हैं. देन वी हैव टू टॉक अबाउट द ढांचा. ना अभी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज आप सोचते होंगे कि ये मेरा टॉक है, मैंने कहा जेंडर इक्वालिटी, और इसमें मेन के साथ काम करने की जरूरत है. तो आप समझ सकते हैं ये जो ढांचा है, केरला डज नॉट हैव इट. नाउ थिंग्स आर चेंजिंग, वेदर इट्स इन केरला और नॉर्थ ईस्ट. ऑन पेपर you may see that property is in the name of women, right? But who are the people controlling? You'll find many examples coming that men are behind the scenes. Whether it's in Northeast also, things are moving because they are imitating what others are doing, right? So we have to realize that in across India, when you say it's the male preference to property, male preference to many other things that is encouraged. So ये जो व्यवस्था है, this system, that framework is called as patriarchy. Let's move to the next slide. So if you see certain words I'm writing, can you all see there are how many words I've written? 6 words. And what is a common word for all the 6? Somebody says because of physical power. So physical power is one part, but In fact, it's so coincidence. I was to ask you that ये जो 6 words लिखे हैं, rights, constitution, discrimination, gender, violence, identity, have all these 6 words to do something with power?
Yes.
They have to do
Violence.
something, right? They are all connected to power. And when you say power, there are 2 kinds of power we all should be knowing. One is power over and one is power with. So which means one is a negative kind of power where concentration of power is happening, like monopoly, right? And when that concentration is among certain chunk of people, largely men, then what happens? The other people are subordinates, their rights are controlled, right? Or curbed. Constitution on paper, very good, right? But you know the reality, what happens? Because of power dynamics. Discrimination. Somebody said there's no discrimination in my place. Who is the person saying? Somebody who has enjoyed privileges. Somebody who can't see that others are discriminated, right? Gender. Discrimination happens even in the 21st century. What kinds of discrimination happen, right? There are various levels, some direct and some indirect violence, which results from discrimination. Has that got something to do with power? Identity. Somebody's identity, that somebody is so and so. What is it which gives identity to a person? Religion, sexual orientation, right? Does it give an identity? And because of that sexual orientation, does somebody enjoy privilege and somebody has restrictions? Would you agree what I'm talking right now? What's happening in our country? That some people get a privilege because of their identity.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Somebody who was for a long time not talking about their own religion are now made to talk or think what religion they belong, right? So what really takes center stage and defines relationships, defines relationship between individual to individual and groups, right? Power has a lot to do. So patriarchy, can everyone see? There are 2 bullets. Patriarchy refers to the system which gives male dominance and subordination of women, and something which ensures that power is transferred from one man to another man. Again, the power comes from different other sources apart from gender. What are those sources? Somebody being married, somebody unmarried. Does somebody get a power because being married? Somebody being literate enjoys certain privilege. Somebody belonging to a majoritarian community, do they enjoy privilege? Somebody belonging to a so-called higher caste, dominating caste, does they enjoy privilege? So we must understand when we are talking about gender, there is a phrase nowadays used which is called intersectionality. What does it mean, intersectionality? That gender is going along with intersections of other subsystems and it happening simultaneously, right? So while somebody, if I give, for example, the example of a Brahmin woman and a Dalit man, can you see that a Brahmin woman, because she is a woman, she faces certain restrictions because of patriarchy. But because she is a Brahmin, she also enjoys certain privileges. Do you agree what I'm trying to tell? Similarly, a Dalit man, because he's a man, he's enjoying patriarchal benefits. But because he's a Dalit man, because of his Dalitality, he is also facing certain restrictions. In the race for power, you see that there are some people in the front, some people behind, and some people are deliberately kept behind. So, whenever we talk about gender, one cannot say that I will talk about patriarchy, but I have nothing to do with caste. Does that work? When you have to address the issue, you have to realize that these are issues which are interconnected, right? So one should have the mindset, the framework in mind that one has to address all these issues simultaneously, right? Let's go to the next slide. So along with power comes privilege. So, certain privileges I've written on this slide. Can you see? I'll just read a few because the idea of this session is introductory, just to tell what I'm the main focus, which we are just coming shortly, that men enjoy certain privileges and power, and therefore it is necessary to work with men, right? So if men, there is a sentence I've written here, I can take the last metro without any hesitance. Is this applicable to all those people who are sitting in this room? Or can some of them say, no, I cannot take the last metro? Are there people who can say that? And why? So Asha has written no. So what stops Asha from taking the last metro? Because she is a woman and she needs permission, and for security reasons, safety reasons, right? Rightly said by Asha. So I think we have to understand that sometimes people who enjoy privileges don't realize men have pockets in their pants and shirts. Do the other gendered people have pockets? People might argue that things are changing now, right? Many of the women, the kind of dress they wear, they may not have pockets. Is that a privilege? So those who enjoy privileges don't see that it is a privilege for them because it's taken for granted, right? Those who do not enjoy or feeling the dearth of it, they will value it more, right? Let's go to the next slide. Now, these are just as I said, introductory session where we are learning about gender, relearning about patriarchy. Now we'll little bit also see masculinity. The ideas about being a man. Where does it come from? It's not automatic, no? It also comes from society. And when you say society, these subsystems, can you see? Family as a subsystem, education, kattas. Do you hear the familiar word katta huna, katte mein baithna? Do you find women going to these kattas, women loitering? Have you heard this word loitering? Who loiters generally? Do women loiter? In society when they want to just roam around freely, aimlessly. It's the boys, right? As Asha has said, it's the boys who are privileged. Racing clubs, informal addas. When racing club, when I say, or a sports activity where the boys and girls, they are learning certain skill. They are learning about the sports, but they are also learning ideas about being a man or a woman. Would you agree? Do they learn that you have to be competitive, you have to always win, you should not cry like a girl? Where do they come from? These ideas from peers. Yeah, earlier somebody used the word peers. But where do these peers and bonding come from? The systems, the places in our society. To some extent, somebody says, right? So let's have different voices responding. I see the same people writing on chat box. There should be more different participation. right? You see now this is a slide. Is this a picture of modern day society? It's a mall or it's a departmental store, right? Can you see? What is the striking thing in this visual? Can anyone say what is striking? So there are two queues, one for the dolls on one side and for the cars and trucks on the other side. Can you see the color combination, the colors which are used, right? And apart from the color, the gender biasness, what can you see clearly that the facial expressions of the boy and the girl, do they tell something? Perhaps doesn't it say that they are liking that particular role which has been given to them? So, we have to understand that how gender works in our society. Toys are one thing. Apart from toy, influence of media. Does media influence? What does the film Bahubali, if somebody recollect, what was the formula of that film? Was it that the hero tries to fight with the villain and win over the heroine? Was that a formula used by many films over the years?
No,
No?
no, no.
Kabir Singh, have you seen Kabir Singh?
These,
Ideas about being a man, does it convey? That film, did it convey? Asha has said power. That I am in love with this person, so I can hit her as and when I want in public. And that is an indication of my love, that possessiveness. Asha has used the word dominant, but I'm asking possessiveness, was it rampantly shown? If you search the Google, you will find that a majority of not just boys, but girl students in our country like the character of Kabir Singh, saying that a man has to be little bit possessive. Then you can't call that person a man. This is the mindset I'm talking. You may disagree, or you may not like to listen to the realities that how films are shaping minds. But the reality is, recently there is a film called Animal. Does anyone know about that film? Persons like me who are working in the field would say when you watch that one animal film, you are creating other animals. Right? So films do have an influence over ideas about masculinity. What I'm showing now is dialogues of certain films. We have less time because I want this session to be interactive. So I'll just quickly go. Ideas about gender, ideas about masculinity. There is a word called toxic masculinity. Have you heard? That such ideas about masculinity which not only impact women but also men in these ways. Suicides, the number of male suicides, is it high in India vis-a-vis female suicides? Anyone knows this? When you search the Google or anywhere, you'll find that it is 3 times higher, right? uh, Health, mental health, post-traumatic disorder, is it more in men? You will find yes. Now let's come to this one topic about violence. If you see, there is a triangle which is shown in the visual. Can you see the triangle, everyone? There are certain things on the top of the triangle like murder, rape, which are talked about. When somebody says about violence against women, these are talked about. But the words like the third layer, which is there, harassment, or traditional roles, glass ceiling, and below is written sexist jokes, homophobic jokes, these are below the pyramid, below the triangle. And why they are below? Because they are not even seen by many in our society that they are related to violence. Would you agree that? See the pictures on the left and the right. It was just a joke. Why do you care? Right? So the joke contributes towards a culture of violence, is what the girl is saying. But does majority in our society think that way? Whenever people are talking about violence against women, they always talk about physical violence or sexual violence, right? The other forms of violence which exist in our society are never seen as violence by majority. So that's why these statistics are there. You know, our Prime Minister likes to talk about Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, right? That's the famous slogan, no? Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. But how many betis who go to the school complete their full education? Out of 100, 27 go the upper ladder, which means they only complete the matriculation. Out of 100, 27 complete. What happens to the remaining? The answer is dropout. And what are the reasons for dropout? Because of the social factors, patriarchy, etc. Right? I gave this example about 11% of the women represented in the parliament. Then there are certain indicators. Our number worldwide when it comes to the status of women is 140. You know, the country where majority of the people like to say that ours is a superpower or we want to become a superpower. अगर हम सुपर पावर बनना चाहते हैं तो हमारा नंबर पहले 10 में होना चाहिए था. हमारा नंबर कितना है? When it comes to the quality of life of people, when it comes to what is called the HDI, Human Development Index. जानते हैं सब लोग HDI क्या होता है? Quality of people, how they live, right? So the quality of people when it comes to education, healthcare, our standing, our ranking is very low in the worldwide, right? तो ये जो वायलेंस अगेंस्ट वुमेन है, इसका भी एक स्पेक्ट्रम है. ये जो नीचे वाला स्लाइड में दिखा रहा हूं, कंटिन्यूम ऑफ वायलेंस. तो एक कंटिन्यूम है कि सेक्स सिलेक्टिव एबॉर्शन से लेके रेप और सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट हो रहा है, बट इसके बीच दूसरा फॉर्म्स ऑफ वायलेंस होता है जिसके बारे में बहुत कम बोलते हैं, राइट? सो दैट वी मस्ट रिमेंबर. लेट्स गो टू द नेक्स्ट स्लाइड. तो हमें जरूरी क्या है पुरुषों के साथ काम करने की. तो मैं जिस संस्था से जुड़ा हुआ हूं, ये संस्था का नाम है मेन अगेंस्ट वायलेंस एंड अब्यूज. तो हम क्या चाहते हैं कि जो जो प्रश्न हमेशा बोले जाते हैं समाज में कि ये महिलाओं का सवाल है. कौन सा प्रश्न? जो भेदभाव है महिलाओं के साथ हो रहा है या उनके ऊपर जो हिंसा हो रही है, हम कहते हैं कि ये सवाल पुरुषों को भी अपना लगना चाहिए. So I would like to know, after I finish these few slides, what do you think about this and how much work is being happening when it comes to involving men and boys? You know, तो हमारी संस्था जिसका ये लोगो है आप देख रहे हैं, ये कहती है कि पुरुषों को एक जगह होनी चाहिए इन सब चीजों के बारे में सीखने की, अनलर्न करने की और रिफ्लेक्ट करने की. तो हम क्या करते हैं कि अलग अलग मीडिया का इस्तेमाल करते हैं, वर्कशॉप्स करते हैं, थिएटर का इस्तेमाल करते हैं, गीतों का इस्तेमाल करते हैं, भित्ति चित्र जिसे बोलते हैं वॉल न्यूज़पेपर्स, और हम एडवोकेसी करके जो घटनाएं समाज में हो रही है महिलाओं के हिंसा के प्रति, उस पर एक भूमिका लेते हैं, उस पर खुलकर बात करते हैं, राइट? और जब बात करने लगेंगे फिर लोगों को लगेगा अरे ये संस्था सिर्फ थियोरेटिकल बातें नहीं कर रही है, ये एक्चुअल भूमिका ले रही है, राइट? थर्ड वे इन विच वी स्ट्रेटेजाइज एंड एंगेज इज यूथ एजुकेशन. युवाओं को शिक्षा देना, युवाओं को इन सब चीजों के बारे में अवगत कराना, और जो मैस्कुलिनिटी वर्ड है तो हमें वो रीडिफाइन करना है. लास्ट वर्ड क्या लिखा है इसमें कि जो जो सेक्सिज्म है या जो नेगेटिव अप्रोचेस है वो मर्दानगी की परिभाषा हमें बदलनी है, और ये हम कैसे करते हैं? अलग अलग तरीके से, जैसे क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग बढ़ाना, वर्कशॉप्स लेना, फिर हम ट्रेनिंग देते हैं, मेंटरिंग करते हैं, ऑल ओवर इंडिया। फिल्म फेस्टिवल के जरिए फिल्में दिखाकर चर्चा करना, इंटरसेक्शनैलिटी जो वर्ड मैंने पहले कहा था, कि हम उसके ऊपर भी जोर देते हैं कि ये सब प्रश्न एक दूसरे से जुड़े हुए हैं। जेंडर रिलीजन के साथ काम करता है, रिलीजन, कास्ट, क्लास, मीडिया, इन सब का आपस में नाता है, राइट? तो ये मेरा एक लास्ट स्लाइड है कि जिसमें मेरा कांटेक्ट नंबर है, जो संस्था में चलाता हूँ उसका वेबसाइट है, और मेरा एक फेसबुक है पेज, आप इसका स्क्रीनशॉट ले सकते हैं। और थैंक यू सो मच फॉर so I think now we can have some
सर
interaction.
एक बार वो स्लाइड, लास्ट स्लाइड जरा बताएंगे सर, नाम वगैरह, संस्था का नाम वगैरह एक बार।
जस्ट दिख रहा है क्या?
नहीं, अभी तक नहीं दिख रहा है।
नहीं दिख रहा है
एक बार
तो
बताइए सर,
मुझे
एक बार आपने बताए थे और एक बार बताइए, दोनों स्लाइड।
स्लाइड शेयर करके है क्या ऑप्शन? ये मैं मिनिमाइज करूं और नहीं, एक मिनट,
लास्ट 2 स्लाइड सर।
या आई एम जस्ट
आपके
लुकिंग।
संस्था का नाम, आपका एड्रेस, फोन नंबर वगैरह सर बेसिक।
Before, I would request participant to have any questions before we conclude. Still, we have time to discuss. I'm really happy that Harish sir, you set a new perspective, new tone, and I think many people listen you. I think first time, and they are trying to understanding these things in a first time. So let me ask participant, how many participants they are listening such kind of topic in a first time?
Yes sir, this for the first time it is there.
And do you find it is relevant?
Yeah, definitely.
सर मेरा
So,
नाम
is
आशा
the
है।
slide visible? Is the slide visible?
No, no, sir. Right now, not.
No.
Okay.
संजय सर
Okay.
कैन शेयर इट।
Sir, you are only concerned about the contact number and all other things. Then I will definitely share with you, sir.
Okay
Yeah,
sir,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Fine.
Prabhakaran, sir, I will share with you.
yeah.
Yeah. Asha ma'am, please.
सर बहुत अच्छा लगा कि आपने बहुत अच्छा टॉपिक लिया है जिसकी आज बहुत जरूरत है। ये मुझे याद आ रहा है कि हम पढ़ते थे, राजा राम मोहन थे जिन्होंने सती प्रथा के लिए काम किया था,
Yeah.
है ना। तो ये परंपरा तो बहुत पुरानी है कि नॉट ओनली द वुमेन कैन फाइट, माइंडसेट चेंज करना पड़ेगा, और डेफिनेट बात है कुछ चेंजेस हो रहे हैं एंड सम हैज टू बी brought in. So congratulations to you to touch upon such a sensitive topic, and I hope we will listen more from you. Sanjay sir, I congratulate you for bringing Harish sir, and all the participants, those who are there might have really realized. In between somebody was saying band karun tak, but this band karun tak tendency or the mindset should change, because
Yeah.
this is not in isolation. This is a topic which has very deep meaning in the progressive life of a girl child, especially, and it has to change. I am a paratrooper, 1975. So I want to tell everybody that you have to change, to bring change in your girl children, your wives, your mothers, or everybody. Thank you very much and congratulations. It was a pleasure listening to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, this movement has also started from Maharashtra itself, because Mr. Mahatma Phule, when he worked for the women's education, and with his
Correct,
wife
sir.
Savitribai Phule,
It
actually
is the
that
Pune
movement was started
University's
in that
name
year.
is
Yeah,
Pune
yeah, yeah.
University's name has come with
Yes, yes, yes,
a
yes, yes.
change for that only.
So that has started from Maharashtra. So see the example of Mr. Our emperor, Mr. Shivaji Bhosle. Actually, he also was very much concerned about the human equality, sir. You might have seen so many things because he was giving importance to the Guru as his mother. He was actually taking the so many advices from her. So there are so many examples which are there in the country, and nowadays our Prime Minister has brought the bill in the Lok Sabha regarding the reservation of the women in Lok Sabha. That is also a good move, and
Move
now
is
our
good,
country.
implementation is required, sir.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It
Laws
will
are
be. It
there.
will be.
Laws are
It will be,
there.
ma'am.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
we
will
will
be
be
there
very
because
happy to see the
if you are
implementation.
having the something is there in the mind, that's why he has brought the bill. No, had previously it was not there. Now it has started, and the nation is moving towards actually so many good things, and women equality is given much more importance nowadays. It is there. It is there because we see that our girl child who is there in the family compared to the boy child, she secures more marks in the exam because she is given the right opportunity to learn to take the education. That's why she's shining. Whenever we see the newspapers when the results are declared of 12th class or 10th class, much more girls are there, sir, who are actually securing more marks and or shining. What does it show? It shows that we are giving the opportunity to the girls for shining. So it's a very good topic which you have selected. We definitely are very much thankful to you for selecting such a very sensitive topic. Actually, this is a very sensitive topic which you have selected. So once again, on my behalf and on the behalf of all the participants, I extend my vote of thanks to you, sir, for this. So also for Mr. Sanjay Vanani, Professor Sanjay Vanani, he is also very much actually eager to have such topics. We also thank to him uh, for the endeavor which he has taken to take such topics. So thank you. Thanks once again.
Thank you, Prabhakaran sir, and thank you, Asha ma'am. Meantime, I also share one feedback form. You can share your feedback
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
so that you will get a certificate of participations. But
Yes,
I
yes.
would appreciate if any questions, to the Harish sir. He's a rich experience, especially in that particular domain.
Actually,
Yeah, any questions?
um, yes, sir, yes, sir. Actually, one question is there in my mind.
Please, sir.
Sir, what can be done? What can be done for having the woman equality then? What can be done? What drastic changes are needed?
So, as you said rightly, that changes are necessary, you would agree. But, it has to be a multi-pronged approach.
Yeah,
It has to be at an individual level, to an organizational level, to a national level. Everybody has a role to play. And as you saw, that my focus of my talk was that whenever the word gender is talked, it is seen as a woman's problem by and
Yeah,
large. Unless and until it is seen as an equally man's problem, you will not get the kind of male involvement that is so necessary. See, the roots of the problem of gender inequality or gender discrimination on women, what is at the roots is, somebody said power, somebody said unequal power relations, right? Is that at the root? The way men look at women as not equal, but as secondary person or as a sex object. Is that the root? If that is at the root, then men, those who say, you all would agree that gender is a social construct. Didn't we
yeah,
say that? So masculinity is also social construct. That means all men are not the same. If all men are not the same, those men who say that I do not believe in so and so things in my own life and professional life, then such men have to come to the fore. No, do you find such examples? You gave example of Shivaji Maharaj. I'm
Yeah,
talking that there is a phrase in Marathi that Shivaji asawa dusranच्या घरी.
yeah.
Right?
Yes, 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 yes,
Jyotiba shouldn't be in our home. ज्योतिबा
yes.
का एग्जाम्पल दिया जाता है, लेकिन अपने घर में ज्योतिबा जैसे सुपुत्र तैयार हो, ये विचार ही नहीं है इस प्रोग्रेसिव
Yes,
महाराष्ट्र में। सब लोग क्या
बराबर.
बोलते हैं, हमें सावित्रीबाई चाहिए। कितने में
Yes, yes.
चाहिए? हजारों में, लाखों में, जो बढ़ रहा है। मैं ऐसा नहीं बोलता हूं वो रुकना चाहिए काम, लेकिन सवाल हमें सताना क्या चाहिए, जितना सावित्री जैसे लड़कियां तैयार हो रही हैं, उतने ही लेवल में ज्योतिबा जैसे सुपुत्र तैयार हो रहे हैं क्या?
Hmm. बराबर.
तो
Nice,
ये
nice.
सवाल पुरुषों को अपना जब लगने लगे, देखो अगर सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट एट वर्क प्लेस, काम की जगह पे यौनिक उत्पीड़न हो रहा है, हाँ, हमें बहुत बार कर्मचारियों को मालूम होता है उत्पीड़न करने वाला कौन पुरुष है, लेकिन उसके बारे में एक भूमिका लेने वाले कितने पुरुष कलीग्स मिलेंगे कि व्हाट इज कॉल्ड एज कॉलिंग आउट, यू शुड कॉल आउट सच पीपल। वो क्या
बराबर.
होता है, वो जो बोलते हैं ना कि मैं ऐसा नहीं करता मेरी जिंदगी की औरतों के साथ, सिर्फ बोलने से नहीं है, आपका भूमिका क्या है, आप स्टैंड क्या ले रहे हैं, राइट? It's a small world. People know who are the people who are misbehaving, but unless and until you take a stand, then you really cannot say that I stand for women empowerment. Because when you take an actual stand, even if you are in minority, then you would say you are one step towards what is called as gender equity, gender equality, non-discrimination. फिर वो words केवल नहीं रहेंगे. So, we, and also remember that, the youngsters of today, see, MAVA मेरी organization का short form है Men Against Violence and Abuse. हमारा
Yeah.
जो पूरा रुख है या फोकस है is on young men and adolescent boys. क्योंकि आप अगर उनमें आज इन्वेस्ट करेंगे तो कल का जो भवितव्य है, कल tomorrow's India will change. Because, and what happens, people with certain attitudes जो आज के समाज में है, बुजुर्गों के दिमाग में, you can make an attempt, लेकिन अगर आपको चॉइस दिया जाए, आपको इन्वेस्ट करना है, आप किन में करेंगे? जिनके एटीट्यूड्स बहुत ही दकियानुसी हैं, फंडामेंटलिस्टिक हैं, उनमें करेंगे क्या नौजवान जो जेंडर अभी अभी सीख रहा है, right? So you
Obviously.
have to concentrate your effort, while I'm not saying that with the adults and other people you have to stop, you should continue, but there should be a focus कि आप किताबें क्या पढ़ रहे हो, आप टेलीविजन में क्या देख रहे हो, मीडिया आपको कैसे इन्फ्लुएंस कर रहा है। आपको मैं एग्जांपल दूं, आई मीन आई एम नॉट टेकिंग मच टाइम बट आई एम
No,
गिविंग
no, sir. No, no.
पॉइंट कि
Please
एक
carry on.
इंस्टाग्राम जैसा चीज है। आपको मालूम है दिल्ली के कुछ शहरों, दिल्ली के कुछ स्कूलों में, पब्लिक स्कूल्स, बहुत ही नामी स्कूल्स हैं, वहां 3 साल पहले एक एपिसोड हुआ था जिसको बोला था बॉयज लॉकर रूम एपिसोड, इंस्टाग्राम के जरिए। मतलब बॉयज लॉकर रूम, ये जो वर्ड भी है लॉकर रूम कहाँ से आया, जो हमारे ट्रम्प अमेरिका के हैं, ये बोल रहे थे लॉकर रूम ऐसी जगह होती है जहां पे चेंज करने के लिए, कपड़े चेंज करने के लिए स्पोर्ट्स में इस्तेमाल होता है ये वर्ड, राइट? आपको याद होगा लॉकर रूम, आपने कब सुना होगा।
Hmm.
तो बॉयज लॉकर रूम का मतलब है कि बॉयज ऐसे जगह पे हैं, स्पेस में हैं जहां उनका राज चलेगा। वो जो बातें कह रहे हैं उस लॉकर रूम में, वो उन तक ही सीमित हैं, उनसे बाहर वालों को कुछ लेना देना नहीं है। तो ये लड़के जो स्कूल में पढ़ने वाले, देखो 3 साल पहले की बात बोल रहा हूं, और वो भी दिल्ली के प्रेस्टिजियस स्कूल्स में। ये लोग ने वो अकाउंट खोला इंस्टाग्राम का, और वो लोग रेटिंग कर रहे हैं लड़कियों को, रेटिंग बेस्ड ऑन देयर अपीयरेंस। इसका फिगर ऐसा है, इसको इतने मार्क्स दे। और ऐसे करते करते वो 13-14 लोगों का जो ग्रुप है, इन्होंने एक लड़की का पिक्चर मॉर्फ करके, मॉर्फ अगर आप देखेंगे टेक्निकल लैंग्वेज में, वो उसको एक अलग रूप देके वो उन्होंने शेयर किया। फिर एक जन जो ग्रुप में मेल था, उसने बोला अरे ये तो पहचानने वाली लड़की है, ये तो हमारे क्लास की है। फिर वो बोलता है मैं ऐसे ग्रुप में नहीं रहूंगा, वो ग्रुप से बाहर हो गया। ये जो मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना, स्टैंड लेना, वो लड़के को लगा कैसा हम मजाक के लिए ये ग्रुप बनाया, लेकिन यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, अवहेलना हो रही है डायरेक्ट। तो ये लड़के ने दिल्ली पुलिस के पास जाके कंप्लेंट करवाई। कंप्लेंट तो करवाई, लेकिन देखो बाद में क्या हो गया। पुलिस जांच करने के लिए आई उन लड़कों को, लेकिन उन लड़कों की मजाल है कि उन्होंने बॉयज लॉकर रूम 2.01 एक दूसरा ग्रुप भी खोल दिया। वो कैसे खोला? इंग्लिश में एक वर्ड है इम्प्यूनिटी, मेरा कोई कुछ बिगाड़ नहीं सकता। और ये मेरा कुछ कोई कुछ बिगाड़ नहीं सकता, ये आता है मर्दानगी के बारे में जो ख्यालात हैं इस देश में पनप रहे हैं, राइट। तो ऐसे बॉयज लॉकर रूम, एक कहावत है अंग्रेजी में, और उसको हिंदी में भी भाषांतर किया जाए, बॉयज विल बी बॉयज। हमारे मुलायम सिंह यादव हैं जो अभी नहीं रहे, लेकिन जब दिल्ली बलात्कार कांड हुआ था तो उनको फांसी देनी चाहिए ऐसे कोई बोल रहा था, तो पार्लियामेंट में मुलायम सिंह ने कहा फांसी दोगे क्या? लड़के आखिर लड़के होते हैं, हो जाती है गलतियां। और आसाराम
वेरी
बापू
सैड,
हैं
वेरी सैड।
जो एक लीडर हैं, जिनको लीडर करके लोग मानते थे, राइट। आसाराम बाबू ने कहा वो लड़की जो है जिसके साथ बलात्कार हुआ बस में, उसने गिड़गिड़ आना चाहिए था सामने वाले को, तुम मेरे भाई जैसे हो, मत करो। अगर वो लड़की ऐसी याचना करती तो वो होने वाला जो रेप है वो नहीं होता। इसको इंग्लिश में क्या बोलते हैं? विक्टिम ब्लेमिंग, कि देखो तुम ही जिम्मेदार हो और तुम्हें ही इससे उलझना है, तुम्हें ही इससे बाहर आना है, बाकी के लोगों का कुछ रोल नहीं है। तो ये जो कहावत बोला जाता है ना, बॉयज विल बी बॉयज, मैन विल बी मैन, हम जैसे लोगों को जब मैं बोलता हूँ भूमिका लेनी है ना, खास करके पुरुषों को, तो बोलना है मैन विल नॉट बी मैन। जब आप एक वर्क फोर्स में आते हो तो आप मैन नहीं हो, आप एक एम्प्लॉय हो, राइट। ये जब भूमिका लेने लगोगे ना तो एक अलग हम प्रोसेस की तरफ जाने लगेंगे। तो एनीवे ये पूरा सेशन का मेरा जो काम गए 30 साल से चल रहा है, ये देश की पहली संस्था है मेरी जो पुरुषों के साथ, लड़कों के साथ, और हम टॉक्स के केवल नहीं बट वर्कशॉप्स लेते हैं, थिएटर करते हैं, फिल्में दिखाकर संवाद करते हैं। और ये फिल्मों का फेस्टिवल मैं अभी अलग अलग शहरों में कर रहा हूँ। मैंने संजय जी से बोला मैं अहमदाबाद भी आने वाला हूँ। तो अलग अलग छोटे छोटे महाराष्ट्र के जिले में मैंने कार्यकर्ता तैयार किए हैं। तो ये फिल्मों के जरिए, क्योंकि फिल्म का प्रभाव होता है ना, फिल्म देख के तरुण नौजवान जो है ना वो प्रभावित होते हैं, कि वो जरा उनको उकसाया या थोड़ा विचार करने के लिए ये किया कि तो वो उनको आप दिशा दे सकते हो। तो हमें ना ये जिसको हम बोलते हैं तारुण्य सुलभ, यूथ फ्रेंडली मेजर्स हमें अपनाने होंगे, क्योंकि सिर्फ लेक्चर देके नहीं आएंगे। क्योंकि देखो इतने हजारों सालों से जो लोग महिलाओं के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, या हमारे कंट्री में जो वुमेन्स मूवमेंट बोलते हैं, नारीवादी आंदोलन महिलाओं के साथ हो रहा है, मैं ऐसा कभी नहीं बोलूंगा कि वो रुकना चाहिए। संजय जी अभी बहुत सारे लोगों को जोड़ते हैं, तो जो लोग महिलाओं के साथ, लड़कियों के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, ये चालू ही रहना चाहिए, क्योंकि आज भी लड़कियों को अपने हकों के लिए लड़ना पड़ रहा है। और एक तरह से वो लड़ाई, क्योंकि वो अफेक्टेड है, तो चालू ही रहनी चाहिए। लेकिन क्या हो रहा है, उसके साथ ही साथ जो दूसरी कोशिशें होनी चाहिए कि पुरुषों के साथ लड़कों के साथ भी काम होना चाहिए। ये नहीं हो रहा है जितनी मात्रा में चाहिए। अगर वो आज आप इन्वेस्ट नहीं करोगे तो कल का जो है वो भयावह है ना। अगर आपने इन्वेस्ट नहीं किया कि लड़कों को इसकी समझ नहीं दी, क्या गलत है क्या सही है, तो मतलब ये सोचने जैसी बात है, हमें सताने जैसी बात है कि हमें क्या करना चाहिए। तो मैं बोलूंगा जैसे मैं स्कूलों और कॉलेजेस में खास करके काम कर रहा हूँ, उसी तरह आपका जो सवाल था कि हमें क्या करना है, तो
बराबर।
इंडिविजुअल तौर पे शुरुआत करनी है। 4-5 चीजें जो मैं पुरुष होने के नाते कर सकता हूं। मैं गाली गलौज देना बंद करूंगा, मुंह से
करेक्ट।
और मन से। दोनों अलग बातें हैं। कोई बोलेगा मैं मुंह से नहीं दे रहा हूं, लेकिन वो देख रहा है औरत को, वो स्टेयरिंग कर रहा है, वो भी एक वायलेंस है, राइट। तो ये चीजें आपके हाथ में है क्या नहीं, कि अगर आपने चाहा ठान लिया कि मैं गाली गलौज नहीं करूंगा कल से, ये हो सकता है क्या?
हो सकता है, हो
लेकिन
सकता है।
इसके लिए मैं उदाहरण देता हूं अल्कोहलिक एनोनिमस का। जो लोग बोलते हैं मैं शराब पीना छोड़ दूंगा आज से, वो तुरंत छोड़ नहीं पाते, राइट। डॉक्टर्स लोग भी क्या बोलते हैं, उनको बोलते हैं आप धीरे धीरे लेना चालू करो और कम करो, फिर वो छूट जाएगा, एकदम से नहीं, राइट। उसी तरह हमें लड़कों को भी समझाना है कि अगर ये अब तक तुम इस तरह की बातें बोल रहे थे, माँ बहन के नाम पे गाली गलौज कर रहे थे, इसमें औरत का कैसे अवमान है, ये जब वो समझने लगेगा, तो जब आप दूसरों के ऊपर गालियां दे रहे हो उनके माँ बहन के नाम पे, इससे आप अपनी ही माँ बहन को गाली दे रहे हो। ये जब आप उनको समझाओगे सिंपल लैंग्वेज में, तो वो समझ में लगेगा। नहीं तो हमारे सचिन तेंदुलकर हैं जो हरभजन सिंह को बचाने के लिए गए थे। आपको याद होगा एक साउथ अफ्रीका का खिलाड़ी था जिसको मंकी करके गाली दी गई थी। तो मंकी बहुत जहरीली गाली मानी जाती थी, रेसिज्म। लेकिन हमारे सचिन प्रिय तेंदुलकर जो हैं, आइकॉन माने जाते हैं यूथ के, राइट। इन्होंने बचाव करने के लिए हरभजन का उस कोर्ट में ऑस्ट्रेलिया के जाकर कहा कि जो गालियां, जो कहावत या जो कुछ भी हरभजन ने कहा वो रेसिज्म के नाम पे गाली नहीं थी। उन्होंने मंकी नहीं कहा, उन्होंने माँ की कहा। और हमारे सचिन ने क्या कहा उसके बाद उन जज के सामने, जब भारत में दो पुरुषों में झगड़े होते हैं आमतौर पे, तो ऐसी बातें आम तौर पे बोली जाती हैं, ये कोई बहुत बड़ा ऑफेंस नहीं मानना चाहिए। इसीलिए हरभजन की सजा जो है वो कम कीजिए। और वो कम हो गई। लेकिन मेरी नजर से उस दिन बहुत सारे देश की हजारों माएं और बहनें, उनका सर लज्जा से झुक गया होगा। तो ऐसा व्यक्ति हमारे देश का आइकॉन अगर है, रोल मॉडल है, तो फिर आम लोगों का क्या कहना है? हाँ, जिनको वो बुरा लगा ही नहीं, ऑफेंस, तो हमें शुरुआत करनी होगी। तो इसीलिए मेरे जैसे लोग अगर बोलेंगे ना मुझे फिल्म एक्टर स्पोर्ट्समैन में रोल मॉडल चाहिए, तो मुझे बोलना है कि हमें आम लोगों में ढूंढने हैं, हमें इन आइकॉन में नहीं मिलेंगे, राइट। तो ये भी हमारे सामने चैलेंज है। और एक दूसरा चैलेंज, मैं अभी जाते जाते, समय कम है तो मैं बताना चाहूंगा कि जैसे पुरुषों का हमारा गुट है ना, ये महिलाओं के हक के लिए, या अभी जो हम थर्ड जेंडर बोलेंगे ट्रांसजेंडर, इनके हकों के लिए, जो समलिंगी पुरुष हैं, इनके हकों के लिए हम काम कर रहे हैं, राइट। क्योंकि हम मानते हैं कि जो पुरुष प्रिविलेज्ड है, उनका रोल है इस समस्या को एक रूप देने में, हल कराने में। तो कुछ ऐसे पुरुषों के गुण भी आपको दिखेंगे समाज में जो ऐसा मानते हैं कि पुरुषों के साथ अन्याय हो रहा है, पुरुषों के साथ जाति हो रही है।
बराबर।
और उनका दावा क्या है, आप सुनिए। उनका दावा है कि बड़ी मात्रा में औरतें कानून का गलत इस्तेमाल कर रही हैं ताकि पुरुषों के ऊपर अन्याय हो, बड़ी मात्रा में। अभी आप जैसे लोग या हम पढ़े लिखे हैं, जो मैंने थोड़ी देर पहले कहा था एक सेंटेंस, हमारा देश पुरुष प्रधानता पर आधारित है, इसको कोई कॉन्टेस्ट नहीं कर सकता,
नहीं नहीं, बराबर
राइट? तो
बराबर।
जो फायदे हमें मिलते आ रहे हैं हजारों सालों से एज अ मैन, वो हम नजरअंदाज करते हैं और बोलते हैं देखो आज पुरुषों की जो हालत है ना, वो बेरोजगार है, वो उसके ऊपर बहुत टेंशन है, वो इन औरतों के कारण। तो हमारी संस्था क्या स्टैंड लेती है ना कि पुरुषों की स्थिति बदतर है, जो आपने कहा, बेरोजगारी है, उनके ऊपर बहुत प्रेशर्स हैं परफॉर्म करने का, ये सही आपने कहा, लेकिन आप जो उंगली दिखा रहे हो औरतों के कारण, ये गलत है, क्योंकि औरतों के कारण नहीं है। अगर पुरुषों ने चाहा कि मापक जो है पुरुष होने के वो बदले जा सकते हैं, तो वो बदल सकता है। अगर
बराबर
उसने मन में ठान लिया कि मुझे ज्यादा से ज्यादा कमाना है, ये मेरा गोल नहीं है, मुझे सिर्फ कमाना है जिससे मैं सुखरूप रखूं अपने परिवार को। मुझे किसने कहा रैट रेस में जाना चाहिए और सबसे आगे मुझे जाना है, दूसरों के प्रति दूसरे पुरुषों से भी परे जाना है? ये जो सोच है मर्दानगी की, ये मैं बदल सकता हूं ना पुरुष होने के नाते। इसमें औरत का क्या रोल है? इसमें मेरी भूमिका इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो बहुत बार ना अभी पुरुष सुइसाइड्स करते हैं क्योंकि वो जीत नहीं पाते, हासिल नहीं कर पाते। उनको फेलियर से कैसे लड़ना है वो सिखाया ही नहीं गया है। हमेशा क्या बोला गया है, तुम्हें अचीव करना है, कैसे अचीव करना है ये सब बाकी की बातें हैं, ये बोलने की बातें नहीं, राइट? ये हमें कहीं तो भी टटोलना है, परखना है कि पुरुषों को कहाँ जाना है आगे। मतलब एक इक्वालिटी अगर हम चाहते हैं तो रिलेशनशिप्स जो हेल्दी होने चाहिए, उन मामले में पुरुष पीछे पीछे है। भले वो ज्यादा से ज्यादा कमाए औरत की तुलना में, राइट? बहुत सारी सुख संपत्ति और वो जो है, क्योंकि एक वर्ड है ना इमोशनल कोशेंट, आईक्यू करके एक वर्ड है, इंटेलिजेंट क्वेश्चन, राइट?
बराबर।
लेकिन इमोशनल क्वेश्चन है ना, बौद्धिक जो बोलते हैं, बौद्धिक से भावनिक, भावनिक बुद्धियांक जो है वो पुरुषों का बढ़ने नहीं दिया जाता बचपन से। जब वो बढ़ने दिया जाए, और वो कौन से भी एज में भी बढ़ सकता है, आपने आज ठान लिया कि मैं अलग सा पुरुष बनूंगा, आप बन सकते हैं।
बस,
आपको
बराबर।
आपको बौद्धिक कसौटी में इंटेलिजेंट बनना है, वो बनिए, आईक्यू भी बढ़ाइए, लेकिन ईक्यू अगर आपका लो है, कैसे आपने हासिल किया वो भी आपके लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो आप अलग से एक इंसान बनने की प्रक्रिया में शरीक होंगे। तो बेसिकली क्या है, हमें ना पुरुषों को अभी किसी ने लिखा है चैट बॉक्स में, पुरुष विक्टिम्स के ऊपर कोई अभ्यास हुआ है क्या? तो मैं आपको बताऊं, ये जो पुरुषों के गुट हैं, हमारी जैसे नहीं, जो ऐसे मानते हैं कि देखो औरतें जिम्मेदार हैं ना, इन्होंने कुछ अभ्यास नहीं किया है। ये कुछ आंकड़े नहीं दे सकते, ये क्या कर रहे हैं, भावनाओं का एक प्रदर्शन कर रहे हैं, और भावनाओं के
रैंडमली।
जरिए इन्होंने बहुत स्ट्रैटेजिकली अपने मेंबर्स में महिलाओं को भी रखा है चेयरपर्सन। ऐसे भी हैं, और इनके नाम भी देखिए, सेव फैमिली इंटरनेशनल, पुरुष हक संरक्षण समिति। सेव फैमिली इंटरनेशनल वर्ड से मीनिंग क्या है कि अब कुटुंब नाम की संस्था है, परिवार नाम की संस्था है, वो खतरे में है, उसको बचाइए। हमें क्या सवाल सताना चाहिए, जब औरतों के साथ जुल्म हो रहा था या हो रहा है, घरेलू मारपीट और झगड़े, तब सेव करना चाहिए फैमिली, ऐसे नहीं आता है।
हम्म।
अभी पुरुष एज ए बहुत आत्महत्या कर रहे हैं, उनके ऊपर बहुत कुछ ज्यादती हो रही है, तो वो बचाइए, ऐसे वो संस्था का नाम है। तो और यही गुट है, यही इस तरह के जो संस्थाएं हैं देश पर, जो पुरुष दिन मनाना चाहते हैं, और वो मना भी रहे हैं। कौन सा दिन? 19 नवंबर। लेकिन हमें
हाँ,
एक सवाल
बराबर।
उठना चाहिए कि जैसे 8 मार्च महिला दिन मनाने के पीछे बहुत बड़ा सोच है, एक विचार है, हजारों सालों से है, और देश भर में ही नहीं, बाहर गांव भी है। इसी तरह पुरुष दिन मनाने वाले जो हैं, उसके पीछे की क्या भूमिका है, जब आप ढूंढोगे तो उसके पीछे यही है, जिसको क्या बोलते हैं, वुमेन बैशिंग। औरतों को शत्रु मानना और बोलना कि देखो औरतों के कारण आज पुरुषों की स्थिति बदतर है। तो अगर हम बिलीव करते हैं ये गलत है ये सोच, तो हमें इन गुटों से भी दूर रहना होगा। विद अ पिंच ऑफ सॉल्ट, हमें इनसे समझना होगा, मतलब वो क्या बोल रहे हैं वो सुनिए। मैं ऐसे कभी नहीं बोलूंगा उनका मत सुनिए। वो आपको बोलेंगे कुछ पीड़ित पुरुष हैं जिन्होंने ऐसे ग्रुप तैयार किए, तो उन पीड़ित पुरुषों के प्रति मेरी सहानुभूति है। लेकिन वो जनरलाइजेशन करते हैं कि ज्यादा मात्रा में औरतें ऐसी हैं, ये
नहीं नहीं
किस
नहीं,
आधार पे बोल रहे हैं?
बराबर।
वास्तव ये है कि मैं आपको मुंबई का एक ही उदाहरण बोलता हूँ कि एक घाटकोपर जैसे एरिया में एक चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट लड़की है जिन्होंने ऊपर टेरेस पे जाके पहले अपने 2 लड़कों को गिराया, बाद में उसने खुद छलांग मारी। अभी क्या हुआ है कि वो पढ़ी लिखी चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट विवाहित औरत, उसने कई बार अपने पिताजी को लिखा था कि मैं कठिनाई में हूं, तो पिताजी उन्हें बार बार बोलते थे एडजस्ट कर लो, राइट। तो ये अगर एक पढ़ी लिखी औरत के साथ हो सकता है कि वो अपने अंदर की बात जो है पीड़ा वो किसी से शेयर नहीं कर सकती, तो कहाँ स्त्री स्वतंत्र है? तो हम बोलते हैं ना कि अपने परों पर है, एम्पावर्ड है। तो आप देखिए तुलना में पुरुष कितना एम्पावर्ड है और उसको जो सुविधाएं मिल रही हैं पुरुष होने के नाते वीजा वी वुमेन। सो हमारी संस्था भी है ना, पुरुषों के साथ काउंसलिंग, जरूरतमंद पुरुषों को का सुनना, ये हम जरूर करते हैं। लेकिन जो आरोप लगाए जाते हैं ना, या इस तरह की भूमिका है कि औरत शत्रु है, ये नहीं है। हम
नहीं,
सबका शत्रु है वो नजरिया जो मानता है मेरे पास पावर है और मैं दूसरों को दबोचूंगा, ये हमारा शत्रु है। ये क्लैरिटी
बराबर
होनी चाहिए। और ये रवैया कुछ औरतों में भी है, क्योंकि उनके अंदर वो पुरुष दिखाई देता है, राइट। तो
बराबर।
ये हमें समझना है कि हमारा शत्रु ये जो सोच है, जिसको जो आपने महात्मा फुले का उदाहरण दिया, वो ब्राह्मणिकल टेंडेंसी जो है ना, ब्राह्मण शत्रु नहीं है, बस ब्राह्मण्य,
हम्म।
ब्राह्मणिकल सोच, ये हमारा शत्रु है। उसी तरह पुरुष हमारा शत्रु नहीं है इस पूरी जेंडर लड़ाई में। हमारा शत्रु है पुरुषी विचार, पुरुषी नजर, जो ताकत अपने पास ही समेटना चाहती है, ये हमारा शत्रु है। पुरुष हमारा शत्रु नहीं है। ठीक है,
बराबर।
मैं इधर ही रुकता हूँ क्योंकि बहुत बातें बोली है, तो ये थोड़ा दिमाग
यस
में
सर,
जाने
बहुत
को
अच्छा, बहुत अच्छा।
समय लगेगा, इसको टटोलने परखने। लेकिन आप सब सोचिए, सभी लोग, कि क्या एफर्ट्स हो रहे हैं समाज में पुरुषों के साथ, लड़कों के साथ, और क्या गैप्स है। हमें क्या क्या करना है, शिक्षा व्यवस्था में काम करना चाहिए, हमें वर्क प्लेस पे काम करना चाहिए, हमें रिलीजन के साथ भी काम करना चाहिए। ये जो 5 सिस्टम मैंने बोले, तो इसका संक्षिप्त में सार ये है कि ये बहुत काम बाकी है। इन सब सिस्टम्स में अगर हम बोलते हैं सभी पुरुष एक जैसे नहीं होते, तो कुछ अच्छे पुरुष सभी सिस्टम में हैं,
बराबर।
उनको लेके हम क्यों नहीं आगे जाते हैं ना। तो ये हमारी सोच होनी चाहिए। तो अगर अपने लेवल पे हम चालू करेंगे, मैं जिस वर्क प्लेस में काम करता हूँ वहां पे मैं कैसा एक नजरिया रखूंगा औरतों के साथ, जो वुमेन एम्प्लॉयज हैं उनके साथ, तो शुरुआत अपने आप से। और ये पांचों सिस्टम मीडिया, अगर कुछ फिल्में गलत हैं लेकिन कुछ अच्छी फिल्में भी हैं जो हम दिखा रहे हैं फेस्टिवल के जरिए, इसका मतलब है कि ये पांचों सिस्टम्स में हमें अंदर घुस के पुरुषों के साथ एक डायलॉग करना होगा। उनको अपना एक क्या बोलते हैं, भागीदारी, उनकी भागीदारी
हम्म,
बनानी है, पार्टनरशिप, टू
right.
फाइट द कॉमन एनिमी, right? So I'll stop here. Thank you so much for the time and
Thank you, sir.
effort. And we can be in touch. मैंने अपना नंबर और ईमेल आईडी भी दिया
Yes
है,
sir, yes.
शायद आप
Yes,
लोगों ने कॉपी किया होगा।
very kind of you.
And whoever wants to connect, join the cause, join the movement for a gender equal society, more than happy.
Yes
Thank
sir,
you.
yes. Sir, yeah, your sanstha is having the branches in the state or in
See, we don't have branches, but I have created a cadre of male communicators and जिनको हम बोलते हैं मेंटी हैं, वो मेंटी होके मेंटर हुए हैं। ऐसे हजारों मेंटर्स मैंने महाराष्ट्र में, गुजरात और कर्नाटका और आसाम में क्रिएट किए हैं। और अब ये फिल्म फेस्टिवल के जरिए और दूसरे पार्ट्स में भी मैं जा रहा हूँ। मेरा अंतिम लक्ष्य है कि ऐसे पूल ऑफ मेल कम्युनिकेटर्स हर जगह होने चाहिए,
राइट, बढ़िया।
वी आर एमिंग
सर
टुवर्ड्स।
आप इधर, अभी कभी आप सर इधर छत्रपति संभाजीनगर में आए क्या?
नहीं नहीं आए हैं, आ सकते हैं। हम औरंगाबाद में ना।
हाँ, औरंगाबाद,
या श्योर श्योर। नहीं, हम वहाँ की यूनिवर्सिटी के लिए हमने एक फिल्म फेस्टिवल रखा था 4-5 साल पहले।
हाँ,
बट वी आर मोर देन हैप्पी, माय एक्टिविस्ट कैन कम, माय टीम मेंबर्स can conduct workshops and events, jointly if given the opportunity. So we'll be more than happy.
सर आपके जो इवेंट्स वगैरह है, वेयर वी कैन सी दैट? क्या है
Sorry.
जरिए, किधर किधर आपके जो भी इवेंट्स होते हैं, वर्कशॉप होते हैं
हाँ,
या?
तो ये एक वेबसाइट जैसे मैंने बोला, वो हम डेवलप भी कर रहे हैं, अपग्रेड कर
हाँ,
रहे हैं। लेकिन जो ईमेल मैंने कहा कि हमारी देखो छोटी टीम है, एक 8-10 लोग हैं एज अ कोर टीम। बट वी हैव कंसल्टेंट्स, वी हैव वॉलंटियर्स, वी हैव यंग लीडर्स who go and organize a workshop, or they conduct a workshop or mobilize a crowd, फिर अवेयरनेस रेजिंग के लिए कुछ मटेरियल तैयार करना, ये सब whatever is possible on one-to-one level. You can be in touch via email or a phone or WhatsApp, and we will tell you what is possible. We will tell, and you can take the lead and initiative. That is what is necessary. We can be in touch. Yeah.
it's very
Thank
good,
you.
very kind of you. You are the great personality in the field, and actually बहुत बड़ा काम कर रहे सर आप, जो कि सुनने में बहुत ही बड़ा काम है। तो इसलिए आपको खास तौर से सबकी ओर से धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ। और सर आइए आप छत्रपति संभाजीनगर में, आपका बहुत
Sure.
तहे दिल से हम स्वागत करेंगे। सर आपके संस्था को मैं तो चाहता हूँ सर, लोकल बॉडीज वगैरह जो है, कारपोरेशन है, यूनिवर्सिटी है, कॉलेजेस है, इनसे टाइप अगर किया जाए ना, तो बहुत काम बड़ा हो सकता है सर, बहुत काम बड़ा हो सकता है इसमें। क्योंकि क्या है, अभी जो यंगस्टर्स है, यंग पीपल है, बोलते जो स्टूडेंट्स वगैरह है, फाइनल ईयर स्टूडेंट्स वगैरह है, तो इनको ये सब एजुकेशन देना जरूरी है सर, ऐसा मैं समझता हूँ। क्योंकि अगर वो समझते हैं तो फिर अगला इंडिया अपना, इंडिया तो यहाँ पर तो आज ऐसी बात है कि यंगस्टर्स का संख्या ज्यादा है सर अपने पास। तो हमारा जो तरुण देश है, उस तरुण देश को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए तरुण ही काम आएंगे। तो इनमें सेंसिटाइजेशन बढ़ाने के लिए अगर ये कॉलेज में, यूनिवर्सिटी में, कारपोरेट सेक्टर में वगैरह अगर ये इस तरह के कोई कार्यक्रम होते हैं, तो सर डेफिनेटली उसका फायदा होगा सर, ऐसा मुझे लगता है। और आपकी जैसे ग्रेट पर्सनालिटीज अगर वहां पर काम करेंगी, तो डेफिनेटली ए चेंज विल बी देयर, ए चेंज
So
विल
we
बी
are
देयर।
always looking for collaborating institutions, partnerships. तो ये चलता ही है, मतलब local level, मुंबई से लेके people in Delhi, Kerala, they are calling. We worked. I was telling संजय जी कि आनंदी नाम की एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है गुजरात में, जो
हाँ,
सिर्फ महिलाओं के साथ काम कर रही थी 25 साल तक।
हाँ,
इनफैक्ट उनके एक मेंबर को मैंने आज ज्वाइन होने के लिए भी कहा था, बट मे बी शी कुडंट मेक इट। So they have for the last 3 years involved my organization, और हमने करीब 100 तो अच्छे ऐसे मेंटीज तैयार किए हैं जो पोटेंशियल लीडर्स। इनमें से
ग्रेट,
अभी कुछ इनिशिएटिव ले रहे हैं अपने आप।
ग्रेट।
तो वो बड़ौदा से लेके गुजरात के कुछ छोटे छोटे जो पंचशील एरिया जो है, so they are working in smaller districts and villages. So ऐसी कड़ी हमें तैयार करनी है, मेल कम्युनिकेटर्स की, so ऐसा पूल तैयार करना है। So thank you so much. We can be in touch one to one, and I'm thankful to Sanjay ji for giving this opportunity.
Yes, yes,
Um,
he is the correct person, sir, who is advocating for all these things. Sanjay ji is a great person also. Definitely, definitely. Yes.
Thank you, Harish sir. I would like to say a few words, like I think 2 years back, sir, I have one call and you talked me about your initiatives. And since then, I am thinking to have such kind of sessions, but I missed your name. I store your number, but I miss your name. So I'm not able to remember. But I'm really happy that you again meet in Mumbai in our workshops, and again we re-established. But with your first talk, I'm quite impressed the way you are working. As Professor Prabhakaran sir is talked to you, it is really nice work, and I'm thinking that all other people will definitely appreciate you. And like all the people, they wanted to contribute in best way, that they can possible to make a gender equal society. So thank you for sensitizing this, the people, and definitely I'm sure that other people definitely in contact with you to have such kind of sessions, or the empowerment of the activities anyway. And thank you all the participants who joined. I thought there will be 10 to 15 people, but at least the 30 people joined and understand this kind of topic is also important. So thank you so much for making our day. Thank you, sir,
Thank you.
for your time and sharing the very important and sensitive informations among all other participants. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Hariji,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
everyone.
Mr. Sanjay ji,
Thank
very
you,
much
sir.
thank you for organizing such a good program. Once again, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Please. So, sir, with your permission, I would like to close the sessions.
Thank you.